Hey there, good evening. I'm Billy. We're going to be doing a shelf bracket as our hardware item of the day. Looks like this right here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, you get the idea now. Let's go ahead and, well, I usually you see me cut and paste some items off of the internet or pictures out of books. I had this laying around because we were doing some house renovations, and we had to take a lot of brackets down. We had water damage to our home, and we had to deal with the mold issues. Had to go move into another place for a few months, and then come back, and they finally put everything back together. The contractors are out, so now we're starting to put shelves back and just getting reorganized. We haven't seen our boxed up kitchen items. That's where the water damage was for almost a year now. So we're unboxing things and putting things back, and I'm taking time to make a video. So here we go. Let's go ahead and open up a FreeCAD. I drew the bracket earlier. While this is open, I'll talk. And the approach I used was not all that great. So I'm going to redo it on this go around. So I'll consider that as a practice session. All right, parametric part. Here we go. FreeCAD opens. I'm going to save as. You can see the shelf bracket up there. I'll go ahead and select that, overwrite it. It's an empty file. Yeah. All right, the bracket's going to have a couple parts to it, maybe 3. So I'll go ahead and make this, rename it, or name it, rename. There we go. Yeah. I'll just call that bracket. And I know we're going to have, yeah, we're going to have one other part, and then I'm going to clone it and mirror it. We'll see how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and add it while I'm here. And rename that. And that's that wire that you saw in the bracket. All right, go up to bracket, make sure it's an active body. Start a sketch. I think I'm going to use the YZ plane. Double click on that. And double check my grid. I know I checked it earlier. I am in inches. Go down to Sketcher. My grid is set up to 1-inch blocks. 12 blocks equals a foot. So it's 12 grid blocks between the major solid lines here. Minor lines, solid, major lines. Close that. Here's the dotted or the minor lines, and the solids. Here you go, solids over here on the left. That's a foot, 12 inches. All right, just giving you a reference. All right, let's make the bracket. It is a 6 by 6 L shape. I'm going to use this polyline here, and let's see. I got the grid line turned on, but it's not snapping to the line. So I've noticed that sometimes I have to turn it off and then turn it back on for it to work. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. All right, so 6 inches. That's 2, 4, 6. We'll start here. There you go. I'll go up a little there. I think somewhere around here. Let's make that horizontal. Since we're in polyline mode, I can use the M key on my keyboard to make a selection of what I want to do with the line, and there you go. I want to do that right there. I want 90 degrees, but we'll change it. I'll get it close for now. Yeah, there you go. And then from there we got 2, 4, 6. Is that right? Yeah. 2, 4, and 6. So we want to go to this line here. It's snapped. Go to that corner there. Snapped. And we'll come back up to here. We'll just select. We won't go to a intersection, but we'll just select that Z reference line. It doesn't like that. That's okay. We'll fix that. We use the M on the keyboard. There we go. And I do want to snap to that line. And then I'm going to come over here. M to close it there. All right, I think what I have to do here is, I think if I just remove this vertical constraint, it should fix everything. There you go. Yep. The reason what happened is the Z axis is already vertical, so I went from this point here to this point along that Z, and it gave it a vertical constraint, which is redundant because if you're attaching to the Z axis, or yep, let's just leave it at that. Let's fix this line here. That needs to be vertical. There we go. It is 1/8 of an inch thick. Make that 0.125 internet. And we'll make this point, that line and this line equal. Equal sign. There we go. All right, that line's right there. Something is telling me, look at that. We didn't quite get to the line there, so I'll have to make this point 6 inches up to the Y axis. There you go. Yeah. 6, enter, there you go. That fixes it. All right. And what do I want for a radius? Let me measure it real quick. I'm showing the outside radius as a 1/2 inch. Put this, and I'll make that 0.5. And then the inside radius is going to be 0.375 or 3/8. There we go. All right, so this, I wanted that at 0.375, enter. And what did I do wrong there? 0.375. Okay. Either way, Let's go ahead and just make these 2 points on the end of the arc, um, make those constrained horizontal. All right, now we gotta remove a constraint here somewhere. Okay, it's saying number 22 up here is redundant. So if I delete 22, okay. All right, let me make this 6 inches from here over to the z-axis. Okay. And then I think what I need to do is just make this line equal to this line here, since that's already fully constrained. And that should take care of it. Let me give it a try. So select that line, then this line, see if equal works. And it does. Yay. I didn't have to supply a dimension. That's good. All right, we're going to close out of there. And we will pad it. And I know I measured it earlier. It is 3/4 of an inch, so that's 0.75 there. All right, let's put some holes in it. I will start with the top by selecting that face and then selecting sketch. It'll use that sketch face as a sketching surface. So there you go. We'll do that. This bracket has a hole right here and then one that is more closer to this bottom edge here than the center. I don't know why they did that, but I think it's because of the way they put the wire braces in the bracket. Maybe they offset the hole because it made it easier for a screwdriver or a drill to utilize that hole. So we'll see. All right, so we'll just go ahead and put the 2 holes there. Just there. I'm gonna put one over here. Let me hit escape to get out of that. I'm going to turn the snap off because there you go. There you go. All right, and the diameter, I forgot the diameter. I think it's 3/16. Double check it real quick. It's a 1/4 inch hole, 0.25. All right. And we want this hole to be equal to this hole, which is already dimensioned, and we'll use the equal sign. Okay, the holes are equal. Now we just need to place them. This one is centered, so it should be 3/8 from there to the y-axis. 0.375. And then this one over here, so from the center to the edge is 1/4 of an inch. So from there to that line, let's go 0.25. All right. Still got 2 degrees of freedom. I want this one from here to this edge is 3/4 of an inch. I measured it earlier. I can go all the way from measure from here over, which would be 5 1/4, or I can use this. Since I use this face as a reference to draw a sketch, I can take advantage of using this icon up here, select it, and use this line as reference on that one. Probably only needed, actually just probably only needed that one there, but that's okay. All right, so from there to there, we'll make that 0.75. That one's constrained, and if I'm not mistaken, it's from the inside of the bracket right here. That inside leg over is 3/4. So let me double check that. It's actually 7/8, which would have been 1 inch from this outside over, but we'll go here. All right, so from the x-axis over to the center, 7/8. We can use a fraction on this one, or you can go 0.875, either one. But let me use a fraction. 7/8, 0.875. There we go. Okay, it's fully constrained. Now let's go ahead and close out. And we're going to go up here and use the pocket command and set it for through. You can see the hole already went through, but that's because of this dimension here. If we make that, I just like to use the through all. You never know when you're going to come back and change the thickness here, and then that 0.19 would not work if you made the thickness more than 0.19. So I'm just trying to get in a good habit of, I know that hole needs to be drilled through no matter, regardless of the thickness of the bracket. So I just went ahead and did that. All right, I'm going to select OK. We're good there. And then we need to repeat that over here. Now in the previous bracket, one of the things that I did that did not work too well was I was able to take this pocket over here on the left, the pocket wire, that sketch right there, select it and take those features and move it over to this leg here, copy it over, but the hole remained on that upper side edge and I needed it over here, and I just ended up wasting a lot of time when I should have just gone ahead and selected the face and drawn a new sketch for the hole. So that's for the pockets. So that's what we're going to do this time. Select that face, select sketch, and yep, right there on that face. All right, put 2 holes in here. We knew that one is about right there, and the other one, since that's there, it needed to be here. So somewhere around here. And I'm going to go back to the pocket sketch and just get my dimensions there. The diameter is a 1/4 inch diameter. Close that out, go back to this sketch here. These holes will be, I think I can select both of them. Oh, no. Go up here and hit diameter 0.25. I was thinking I could do both circles at the same time, but I kind of messed up. If I would have selected them and then did the pull down and went constraint diameter, maybe I could have done both of them. But you notice this time I didn't set one equal to the other. It's just, sometimes I'm consistent and sometimes I'm not. All right. So I know from here to this Z axis should be 3/8. 0.375, and then from there to here we go again. Let me escape. Right click to get out of that. Dimensioning. And I'm going to come up here and select this reference and use this line. There we go. And we're 3/4 of an inch over from that. So select the center to there and 0.75. We're good there. And then we said this one was 1/4 of an inch over, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double click on the other sketch to make sure we are, yep, 1/4 of an inch. Let me double click back to sketch 2. And we're going to use that reference line there. Reference command, select the line. There we go. Now I should be able to select the center, the endpoint, or the line, either one. Endpoint. And we'll go with 0.25 and we'll enter that one. Oh, okay, this is now just missing a dimension in that way. We know it's 4.5 inches from center to center. I'm going to double click on the sketch here. .75, 3/4. No, I guess not. That's interesting. I thought it was 4.5 earlier. So from center to center, put a dimension, and it's showing 4.375. Cancel that. Cancel. Alright, right click. Alright, let me double click on sketch 2. And we're going to go with I forgot it already. Oh boy. What was it? Alright, remember it this time, Billy. Remember it. Center to center. 4.3, so 4 3/8. Cancel. Right click to get out of that. 4 3/8. Alright, so from that center to that center, 4.375. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's close that. And we got we got circles. We're going to turn into pockets, and we're going to change it to through all. And there we go. We got the bracket. Alright. Come up here and hit ISO. ISO. And if you remember, we had some squiggly lines in here. We got to get to work on that. Alright. So let me turn these origins on here real quick. What am I going to do? Alright. I'm going to draw it, the wires, the squiggly wires here on this YZ plane. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, because then I'm going to have to come back and use this plane here, which is the XY plane. I'll use XY to draw the profile to go along the path of the wire that we draw. So get over here, we're going to use YZ plane. Alright, so turn the origin off. Collapse the bracket. We're done with the bracket. Now we need to do the wire. got to do a new sketch for the wire, but first I need to right click it and make it an active body. Alright, active body. Oh, I was wondering why the sketch up here was shaded, and the reason being I didn't close out my pocket over here, so close that out. Alright. Alright, the wire is an active body. Now I can start a sketch. And I want to use this YZ plane right there. Double click. There we go. Alright, let me show it to you one more time so you'll know what we're working on here. Hello. Back. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to do one of these lines here and then make a copy of it, mirror it. But so we're going to do the profile first. I'm sorry, the path, which is the wire. And then we're going to come out here on the end, either here or here, and draw a circle for a profile. And then we're going to make it follow that path right there. Okay, to do the wire. There you go. Okay. All right, turn this on. I want the end of that line to attach to the grid line. There you go. Snap it up there. Snap it right about there. Let me use this command here to remove some of the model so you can see the parentheses snap to that line. A polyline up here, create a polyline, and then we'll snap. There. The reason why I want to use a polyline is so that I can put radiuses in here. That'll kind of save me a little bit of time where I don't have to put fillets. So in polyline mode, you can use the M key on your keyboard to just keep selecting the M until you get to the radius. One more time. There we go. All right, we're going to swing that around. All right. Then we're going to put a straight line in there. I don't want to snap to any grid lines there. I'm using the M on my keyboard. There we go. Another straight section there. And use the M on the keyboard to get a radius. Somewhere in there. And then here, I'll snap to the Z-axis. Then right click to get out of it. Right click to get out of that. Okay. Alright, I measured these line segments earlier and they were 3/8. So I'm just going to make all the line segments 3/8 long. 0.375. Okay. Click. Alright, now I should be able to select that line segment. Select that line segment. And select that one. And select that one. And then hit equal. There you go. Let's now make these lines horizontal and vertical because I don't see that constraint. Yep, look at that, it's jagged. So select the line and come up here and do horizontal constraint. Select this line and it should default to vertical when I select that. There you go. Select this one and make that a horizontal. Okay, there you go. Now we just gotta play with this right here. I do want this to be coincident to this line here. Select that and use the coincident constraint. There you go. Lock that in. And the same here. That point needs to be coincident to that. And that's coincident. Alright, so let's get this line segment from here to there. I'm going to have to measure that one again. I'll let you know what I come up with. Yep. Yeah, I'm getting 1 5/8 from the underside of that bracket to here. Alright, from there to there. 1 5/8, so it should be 1 point. Is that 625? Yep. Yeah, 625. Alright. Therefore, it should be the same here too. From here to the underside of the bracket. Alright, I'll make that 1.625. Okay. We got 1 degree of freedom, and that is likely going to be, let's grab it and move it around, see where the freedom is. Okay. I think if we just locate these endpoints, the endpoint of this wire from here to here, here to here, that'll take care of that 1 degree of freedom, and that this radius here will adjust itself. Alright. And that dimension is okay. Should be 1.5 from there. And since I did not select the face here as a place to sketch, I cannot use this as a reference, so we're just going to have to do math. I know that from here to the end point is 6. Let me go back and look at the bracket sketch. I just want to make sure I get it right. That was from the outside. Okay. Yeah, from the center point there, which is inside. Alright, so from there over is 6 inches. Minus 1.5 inches. So it should be 4.5 inches. Alright, let's go back to the sketch 3 and see if that works. So from this point over to that point, it should be 4.5. There we go. Fully constrained. We can close it now. Is this up here? We have a wire. And now this wire is going to be the path where we run a circle, and we're going to use this loft command, pipe lofting, I think, or additive pipe. That's a loft. Sweep a selected, let's read it. Come on. Sweep a selected sketch along a path or to other profiles. So we're going to go along a path. Now we have to get the diameter of that wire drawn on this endpoint, and that is why I chose to put, oh, hold on here, let me make sure that's right. Yeah, that's why I put the end of this wire to the underside of the bracket, because that underside, oh, I put the underside of the bracket on the origin. Let me show you that up here. Turn the origin on. There you go. There you go. You can see the bracket laying on the plane there, the XY plane to be exact. And it's going to make it easier to draw a sketch on the XY plane and put the circle right over the end of that wire. In a previous bracket that I drew, I made the mistake. I didn't realize it was a mistake at the time, but it just made sense to me that this outside edge of the bracket was flush to the plane, but then it created issues for me when I started to put the profile, that circle, on the end of that wire. So I'm glad I'm remaking it because I can make the video shorter. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, and we may have to do a little bit of math here to get that wire there. Alright, turn the origin off. We already know it's going to be on the XY plane, so turn that off. And we're going to do a new sketch, but we want the wire to be an active body, and we're going to start a new sketch in that active body. And it's going to be on that plane right there, so double click that plane. I want to skew it over. You can see the end points right there. That's where I want to get to. So what I'm going to do now is take this bracket right here, and I'm going to go up here and select the eye to make it disappear so I can focus on getting here. Alright, this reference is not going to work on that line. I'm wrong. I stand corrected. It did work. I think it's because it's inside of that wire body. It allowed me to use it, so that's great. That means I don't have to do any math to figure out where to put the circle or the profile. So there we go. That's going to be the center of our circle. Yay. Hey, something worked for me. Hard to believe. Alright, there. I know that circle I want it to be. I thought I knew what I wanted it to be. Let me select it. That. And I think it was 1/4 inch. Let me double check that. Double checking, and yeah. Yep. I'm going 1/4 inch, 0.25, and there we go. Alrighty, look at that. It's right on the end of that wire, so now we can close this. While it's selected, we should be able to come up here and do the yellow, the additive pipe. Select that. I'm getting invalid subnames right here. I think we're going to be okay. No spline. I probably could have or should have selected the spline before I selected that, but that's okay. We can add edges right here. Sketch 4 is the object. Here's the path. So select an edge. There you go. And you have to select this edge each time, which is why if I would have selected that wire before, then it would have gone ahead and made the sweep for me instead of doing what I'm doing now. Add the edge. And you'll notice that as you select the add edge, there's like a magenta border around it, and you see the path that's already been selected is magenta. So whenever you see that magenta, that's a good thing. All right, add this last one here, right side. Okay, select OK. And now I'm going to bring the bracket back. All right, now all we got to do is move that over, that wire body, move it over. And just to explain to you earlier, I tried to draw this wire and ended up, I tried to make a copy of the wire, let me say that, and ended up referencing it somehow to this bracket. So I couldn't move the wire. When I moved the wire, it created another bracket, and I had two brackets and two wires, and I couldn't do anything with it. So that's why I had to start over, which is a good thing. I learned from the first one I created. We will now need to make a copy, a clone of this wire, mirror it, and then after we mirror it, then we can center it on the bracket where it belongs. All right, I might go ahead and try to center that now. And then just, some people kind of don't like seeing all these lines here. You can right click here and go into your drawing style, and you can set that to shaded, and you get that shaded look right there. But when you're developing, that's if you're going to render your model. If you want kind of a rendered look, you can do that. I find it easier for me when I'm constructing to use the wires. So I'm going to right click the screen, put the drawing style back to, so that's no shading. I don't want that. I want drawing style, flat lines. There you go. It still gives you kind of a rendering with light reflecting off of it and the lines at the same time. That's fine with me. That works. That works. All right, so what's the next step? I want to copy this wire, but I tell you what, first let's get it into position. We want to move this over. So we're going to move it the x-axis. We're going to move it along the x-axis. I would say 3/8 of an inch, but then that would put that right dead center there. And we got to make a copy of that wire, mirror it, and put it beside it. So we don't want to quite go there. What we want to do is put the edge of that on the center of this bracket here. So let me show you a trick for doing that. First of all, I want to slide this over. I had to mess with these earlier too because I was reading information. All right, so we're going to go in here and grab this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to grab that line right there. Grab that line, and I'm going to grab got to hold down a control key, grab this circle. All right, with those two selected, I should be able to use the caliper icon, which is to measure, and it'll give me some X, Y's, and Z's. And there we go. So, see that red X? You can't read it because it's hidden behind the Y. But that line right there, that's how far we want to move it over. So what do? You rotate the view, or maybe we can zoom in. There you go, zooming in helps. We want to come over from that edge. Oh, you know what? It's not to the center. So let me try a different way. Yeah, because that should have been a better number than 0.2105. So let me try a different way on that one. Front, come on, Billy. That's strange. It should have gone to the center of the hole. Guess not. Alright, I'm going to try something different. Let me close that. And I might be able to grab the, there you go, I want that edge right there, that circle. That one, hold down Control key, select this one, and now do the calipers, and this time it went center to center. That we need to go over 3/8 to align it, but we didn't want to do that. We want to go over 3/8, but we want to go 3/8 to that edge right there. So maybe I'm going to have to do math. Since this is a 1/4 inch diameter wire, it's going to be 3/8 minus 1/8, so that puts us at 1/4. So I should be able to just move it over 1/4 and we'll be fine. Alright. Close the calipers, and we're just going to move this wire to the right along the X just 0.25, and that should center the edge right on the center of the bracket or the hole. Alright, select the wire, right click and go to transform, and the increment up here we want to set to 0.25. You don't need to select OK, just grab this, pull it over, and it went over 0.25. Hit OK. Alright, now let's copy that wire. This is going to be the tricky part. Tricky. What I'm going to do is clone it with this command here, that wire, and now we have a clone. And that clone, with it selected, and coming up here to, right click it, transform it. It's already set to 0.25. Pull it over. There we go. Okay. But now we need to mirror that along a line, and that could be problematic. Let's see. Mirror it or rotate. I think I can rotate it, is what I want to do. Alright, I'm going to have to play with this. Maybe I can rotate it 180, select it, transform it. My brain is kind of smoking right now. I can rotate it in 90-degree increments. Let's see what happens here, but then it's going to end up over here. That might still work. Pull around 90, 90. Okay. Now if I can move that down to here and over to there, then I think we got something going on here. Let me see if that's possible. First of all, let me hit the wire, hit this guy here, right click and transform. Like I said, my brain is smoking. Alright, we want to go down from here to here was 4 and something. I forgot, but that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Because I can cancel that and get a dimension. Let's get a dimension from select front, and we want to get this down to, I want that top edge to be there. Alright, my brain is smoking again there. And then I want to select there. Oh, I gotta hold down the control key. So to the bottom there, to there. Hit the calipers. See what we got. Alright, we're gonna bring that down 0.375, plus we need to add another 1/4 inch to get the top of that down flush here. Let me hit the right side. Yep. So that's 3/8. If you add 1/4 inch, that's 2 more eighths. That's 5/8. So we should set the transform to 4 5/8, and let's see what happens there. Close this, and we'll transform this body. Right click it, transform it, and over here on the right we want to set it for 4.625, and grab this arrow and pull it down, and there we go. Alright, now I could probably do this a lot easier with the assembly workbench right here. I'm still learning it. I'm getting pretty good with it right now, but for this hardware bracket series, I'll these static pieces, I'll move them around like this, but I promise you I will get more into the assembly workbench. I'm going to save it for like when we do a hinge where we have a rotating part. We can set a rotation on the hinge, and you can grab it with your mouse and you can like open and close the hinge, or maneuver the hinge along the center of the hinge, and other hardwares that are movable hardwares. Okay, so we got this here. Now we need to move it over this way, so we need to get this edge over to that inside, which also, it's already set to 4.625, so I can grab it while I'm there and pull it over. Select OK. That's the bracket. Alright, yay. We did it. We'll rename that wire 2 to show that we have 2 wires there. Select O here. Okay. I'm going to right click it and go ahead and set the view for shade. And it's already the color. Yay! We did it. Oh, I'm happy. Alright. Let me transition back and show you. This is more for self-gratification. Hopefully I got it turned the right way. Yeah, something like that. Anyhow. Yeah, good job. You can see how the 2 wires are side by side. Alright, just for the heck of it, select all of those. Let's come over here and hit View tab, and the shape appearance, I think that's what I want. Shape appearance. I'm going to slide it on up here to more of a, get it kind of a bluish gray. Select OK, and there we go. Just kind of a bluish gray bracket. I'm going to set it back to wire before I flat lines, no shading. Yeah, flat lines. There we go. All right, well, thank you, everybody. We did it. Yay. Go ahead and transition back. I'll go ahead and end this and save it. Okay, thank you for hanging in there. Hopefully this was a little bit shorter than the other videos. I think the last one I got it down to 50 minutes. Hopefully I can get this one under 50 minutes. Ideally, I believe I want to try to get these down to between 10 and 15 minutes. With me and the way I run my mouth, I don't know if that's possible, but I think I'm getting there. So we'll see. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. Look for other hardware coming soon to a YouTube video near you. Have a great day and steady as she goes.